Now, our first guest, Pat Spillane. Pat, delighted to have you on. How's life with you at the moment? Are you well? You're probably delighted to see an Offaly man getting a bit of misery.
Well, first of all, can we not see him in action at all? Are we sure? Who's to convince us that he's going to do it?
Well, don't worry, I'm keeping an eye on him here. And
like, is there, do you know, like the lotto, is there somebody from Stokes, Kennedy, Crowley, or some accountant of repute to count? No?
Well, maybe you'll keep tally on him.
Jesus. Come here, would you tell me this? What computer threw up Dunphy, Davy Fitz and Pat Spillane on the one podcast? Jesus.
Well, we
can flick three of those fellas on the nation for a shot.
Yeah, you often say that two lads, they might be two cheeks of the one arse. We might have found three cheeks on the one arse.
Three, absolutely. Absolutely. So look, it's great. Look, I'm delighted to be on. I mean, the one thing that this lockdown and this COVID crisis is that it has shown what Irish people are like. Going back to the old days in the country areas, we had the mehel, where neighbours helped neighbours out. And we're seeing that mehel again in existence in this country, where people are just helping one another out, doing brilliant gestures like Michael is doing here to raise money. And the people of the country being so good in dipping their hands into their pocket to contribute to really good causes. So congratulations, Michael. Congratulations to everyone in this country who've shown that we are a nation that when it comes to we can do it, we can give.
Absolutely. And maybe more on the fun side of things, Offaly are a county, Michael's county.
Jesus.
They've obviously dished out the misery to you in the past. Now, you did get a bit of payback last year. You relegated them to the Christie Ring in hurling, but
Jesus, no, that's clutching at straws, no shit. Look, Offaly inflicted pain on us in 1982. And yes, it was a push in the back, but that's neither here nor there. But so any opportunity I can get to see an Offaly person or to hear of an Offaly person in pain, well, then that gives me a little bit of pleasure. But it's gas. That's one of the things, the annoying things about this lockdown is that, Jesus, it's a rerun of all old games. And I don't know but all the classic games, all the great matches that every TV station seems to be finding are all matches which Kerry lost. And we never won a classic, it'll be just, but anyway, and for about 20 years, Shane, Jesus, I never looked at the 1982. For 30 years, I suppose, I never looked at it. Maybe for 35 years, I never looked at it, because I'd say it would be the equivalent of trying to get a look at your own funeral, So I never, but in the last year or two, I'm starting to get the courage. I've never seen it all, but I'm dipping in and out. And the first thing I dipped in, I wanted to find out, Jesus, was it really a push in the back or not? Or was it really? And I slowed it down and I did it. And I wore my Sunday game analyst hat and I said, yeah, it was, yeah. But I tell you, what I was really intrigued about, I swear to God, little flashbacks every now and again from that game that you say, I wonder, was this correct or not? And I always remember the referee pulling me up for touching the ball on the ground. And I said, Jesus, I think that was a real harsh call. And the other night, I said, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to honestly say, was this a foul or not? I can picture the scene, second half, the ball goes loose on the ground. I'm about to come in, I'm about to pick it up, and Johnny Guinan, the Offaly player, catches me by the ankle, knocks me over, I fall on the ball. Jesus, you know what the referee did? He gave a free to fucking Offaly for me handling the ball on the ground. Jesus. Anyway, we've got to let go.
Yeah, but maybe it's because you won so much, we sort of marvel at the tiny bit of misery that you have.
Absolutely. Do you know, look, no, do we begrudge Offaly and Ireland? Not a bit in the world. Absolutely not. Score lines never lie. We talked a lot about the 5-0 last year because Dublin obviously achieved it. We didn't do it. There was two differences between the Dubs and the Kerry team. With the Kerry team I was involved in, it was pretty much the same fellas. The only reason we didn't have the same team for the 5-0 as for the first match was Jimmy Deenan and myself were injured. Other than that, if we hadn't been injured, we'd have had the same team pretty much for the 5 years. That was number one. The second thing was that in the drawn game, Kerry went into the lead with 12 minutes to go. So Dublin had 12 plus injury time, which was 6 or 7 or 8 minutes. They had another 18 or 19 minutes to settle in, get back into the game, get their composure back and get that equalising point. When Seamus Darby got the goal, it was in the closing stages and it was catch-up. But look, and I say this about Offaly, I don't begrudge them their victory. Those players that played that time were legends of the game. And I talk about one Offaly player in particular, Matt Connor, most gifted forward. I hope someday somebody will pick out the clips, and particularly the All-Ireland semi-final display he gave against Kerry in 1981. One of the greatest individual displays ever given by a player in Championship in Croke Park.
He was poetry in motion. Like, if you saw him in a Kerry jersey, like he'd fitted quite well.
He was a genius. He was just a genius. Great balance, left and right, very accurate, very composed. He was just a genius. I mean, he was just, so you hate to see a county like Offaly, hurling team struggling, football team starting a little bit under John Mahon, but like what they achieved in those days with the hurlers and the footballers for a small county was absolutely amazing. Will it be done again by a small county? Probably never.
I actually did a video with Liam Hayes, who of course won a couple of All-Irelands with Meath in the 80s recently, and he was talking about this current Kerry team and also Mayo, and he said that Mayo have the leaders but they don't have the geniuses, whereas Kerry have the geniuses but they don't have the leaders to get over the line, whereas Dublin have both.
That's a fair point, but at the end of the day, you look at all the All-Ireland winning teams, football or even hurling, and what you need to get over the line, you need at least 2, perhaps 3 marquee forwards. 2 forwards, 3 forwards. What's a marquee forward? A forward that's on his day unmarkable, that will contribute. Do Mayo have a marquee forward? No, they don't. Do Kerry have marquee forwards? Probably 2, probably 3. Dublin have 3 or 4. But you're right, leadership is the thing. Actually, can I just, do you know when I was asked to come on this last night by Michael Verney, and fair play to him, and he talked about push-ups, and do you know what? I got flashbacks. 1979, Irish superstars and world superstars. Because I don't know if there's any of the listeners or the viewers here remember the superstars. Superstars was where you got the top sports stars in Ireland competing against each other, cycling, running, swimming. And one of the things was there was a press-up and chin-up competition. And I swear to God, I mean, I was absolutely... and I was a fit athlete. I trained ferociously hard. I did weight training before weight training was ever done. I bought a weight machine when no one ever had a weight machine. But Jesus, Shane, I couldn't do 2 press-ups. Not a hope in the world. And the gas part about it, I had terrible weak arms. Couldn't catch the ball over my head. Couldn't do a press-up. And every night for the last 6 months, I lie awake in bed for hours upon hours with arthritis in both shoulders. Oh my God, I haven't a fucking clue because I didn't use them. I didn't even shoulder a fella because I was ducking them.
I was talking about Bomber Liston recently also on OurGame.ie, and he was talking about that great relationship he had with Micko because he was a teacher posted in Waterville, and that Micko used to take him out, do extra training with him, I suppose help him to become the player that he became. How instrumental was Micko in the player you became?
I'll tell you this, do you know what, Shane? I wrote an article in the Sunday World last week, and it was an article about dreams, because I find that I'm dreaming a lot at night. And I'm dreaming about football. And the gas part about the dreams in the football is I'm not dreaming about any game I lost. Or I'm not dreaming about any game I had a bad match. I'm dreaming about all the great times and the great victories and the great memories. But while I was writing the article, I said, look, Micko made me into what I was. And I was just... and he made us all into... We might have won 2... As a team, we could have won 2 All-Ireland medals, probably, because we were so good. Would we have ever won 8 without Micko? Not a hope in the world. But I'll give you 2 very quickly. What made him so special? There was a couple of things about him. He made you feel like you were 10 foot tall. He made you feel like you were the best left-back forward in the world, the best full-back, Bomber the best full forward. That was first thing. He made you were 10 foot tall. You were the best. Secondly, fitness. He could get you. Do you know what? It's something that the innate ability that a Willie Mullins has or a Nathan O'Brien has, that knows when the horse is ready, that knows. Micko had an innate ability that could know you trained hard over the winter. You did the laps of the field, the rounds of the field, the mud. And people would say, Jesus, that's old fashioned, that's out of date. It still works to this day. And do you know why rounds of the field, why they were so good in January, February and March? Because 1, you built up stamina. But more importantly, the fella who would give you 100% in February or March would be the fella who would give you 100% in July. So the stamina was built up. That was number 2. Number 3, he realised at a very early stage, around 1979, that motivation, we had just won 2 All-Ireland medals. And medals, it's easy for a professional sports fella to remain motivated because the more you win, the more you get paid. Amateur sports person, the more you win, you get another medal. And Micko realised that, well, maybe another medal, even if it's an All-Ireland medal and brilliant, but it's accumulation. It's 2, it's 3, it's 4. And Micko started saying, right, we need to motivate these fellas. We dangled carrots. And the first carrot, the carrot he dangled was the holidays. So we started with the Canaries. We started with the smallest Canary, and we moved up to the bigger Canaries. And then we got to America. And in 1981, to win 4 in a row, if we won 4 in a row, the deal was we had a 5-week holiday. And we won 4 in a row. And as a reward, we had a 5-week holiday, Shane. 1 week, 3 weeks in Australia, 1 week in Hawaii, and a week between San Francisco and New York. Not alone that, we had £1,400 a man pocket money in 1981. It was just brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. But the main thing, Shane, the main thing, and I've said it so many times now, Micko's team talks. We were in 10 All-Ireland finals. That's a lot of Munster finals. That's a lot of All-Ireland semi-finals. That's a lot of matches. There was 2 things about Micko's team talks. He never, ever, ever spoke about the opposition in his team talk. And he never, ever, ever spoke about the opposition's star players in his team talk and how we could stop them. It was belief in our own ability, belief in our teammates' ability, and we could deliver. Our glass was always half full. And I'll tell you this, Shane, it was a philosophy we had on the field of play, and it's something that, as an individual off the field, I have always carried through life, in that my philosophy going through life has always been that of being positive and my glass always being half full. Excellent. And that's what the Wire gave me. He made me the player I was, and I would like to think he made me the person, and he gave me the career that I achieved afterwards.
Fantastic. What we'll do is we'll just touch base with Michael here when he finishes this round of push-ups and see how
he's still alive.
He's still alive. Michael, how are you doing?
How many?
Not too bad. The shoulders are getting tired already, though, unfortunately. So we're going to have to dig deep. We were 6 of the way there. We should have nearly over 200 done nearly this stage.
Yeah.
221 done, so not doing too bad.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to actually update the push-ups so far, but I will do so in a little while. We'll come back to you again in a couple of minutes, Michael. Pat, what I'm wondering is, do you have a big interest in other sports outside of Gaelic football, or is that the be-all and end-all to you?
My life is all about sport. I'm retired as a teacher at 10 years. I retired as principal. And my day on television, on a bad day, is 5 or 6 hours television, and on the weekend is 10 or 12 hours television. I watch sport morning, noon and night. I go from racing to boxing to rugby to you name it. Anything with sport, I will watch it. I will watch 3 and 4 soccer games, 2 and 3 rugby games, all the racing, you name it. I love sport, and I'm at the moment now with Netflix, so we're devouring everything. I finished the 2 series of Sunderland Till I Die. Brilliant. The English game, which was not so much as much about soccer, and I'm loving Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan is, oh Jesus, just to get into the psyche of Michael Jordan and what made Michael Jordan, the great basketballer was. I'll tell you this: any aspiring sports person, youngster, should watch that Michael Jordan documentary. It's just brilliant.
Is it something about the dominance too? Like, you were part of the team that was dominant, and then Jordan. His Chicago Bulls were completely dominant. So do you see something in what they did and what you did and think, I like that, or it sort of correlates with our story?
From a team point of view, with the Bulls, say, and with Kerry, there are similarities. Very driven, very different, but very different types of individuals. Very different types of individuals, and just that can blend. And a good manager. With the Bulls, they had Phil Jackson. We had Micko that could allow players, they weren't, I'm picking my dream team for next Sunday and the Sunday morning. What would be my dream team in Gaelic football? But we had to pick the manager, and to be perfectly honest, it was a struggle to find a top class Gaelic football manager at the moment, because outside of Mickey Hart, no one has an All-Ireland season. But anyway, that's neither here. But I picked out Jim Gavin, and what made Jim Gavin a great manager? What made Micko Dwyer a great manager? Empowerment. Left the players, empowered the players, trust in the players, believe in the players. And over the last 10 or 15 years, particularly in Gaelic football, we didn't empower the players. Instead, coaches and managers drove a game plan and a defensive system, and they were shackled, and they were playing, and now with Dublin, and even with Kerry slightly now, and with Galway at the moment, the shackles have come off and players have been empowered more to express themselves, to play with a bit more freedom, play to their strengths.
Do you know, when ultimately, and it seems a little bit trite to talk about it at the moment, sport coming back when there's, you know, far more serious things going on with COVID-19, but if there's an opportunity to play behind closed doors games, would you accept that ahead of nothing? You would?
Well, like Stephen O'Brien was interviewed today in one of the papers, maybe in all the papers, and he made a point that inter-county players nowadays are so familiar because they train behind closed doors. They play so many challenge games up and down the country behind closed doors. At the end of the day, if the only possibility of finishing the championship by playing closed doors, I say go for it. And you know why? And it's not a selfish reason. I think it just would lift. We need sport. Sport isn't a matter of life and death, and I think we realise that now. But at the same time, sport is our escape valve. Sport is what lifts us out of the mundane and the doom and gloom and the problems of life. And I think we need sport, whether it is sport behind closed doors or sport in front of it. But I think we need that escape valve in our life at the moment, and that's what sport can provide.
When you think of the teams that you played on over the years, and I spoke with Bomber about this also, that a couple of the players unfortunately have passed away, John Egan and Horst Kennelly, Paddy O'Shea, yeah, of course. Like, when you think about them, what comes to mind?
You know, when you're flying fit and you're the fittest people and you're the fittest team in Ireland, which we were at the time, and you feel, Jesus, you're invincible. I'm so fit, I'm so strong. Nothing can take me. And the deaths of Paddy, Tim Kennelly and John Egan, oh Jesus, it hits us hard. It hits us hard because it suddenly realised, hey, Jesus, we're not invincible, we're not infallible, whatever like that. So like, we trained hard, we played hard, we had a great time together, and we missed them. I miss Paddy. I spoke about them last week. I miss Kennelly, the horse. He was one of the strongest men I ever came across in a Gaelic football field. Long relieving clearances, held that centre back. Egan, the coolest man in the world. I swear to God. I mean, great ball carrier, beautiful balance, a lovely finisher. He was the coolest man. You'd be inside in the dressing room, 5 minutes to go to run out the field, all Ireland fine. You'd be revved up, so that you'll be ready to go. The wire will be pounding the table, and Egan would turn to you and he'd say, "Where are you going for a pint after?" And he said, Jesus, John, we're trying to play the All-Ireland final. And Paddy was Paddy. I mean, Jesus. Paddy was the warrior you had. You know, when you went into battle, you needed the likes of Paddy. I mean, if you weren't revved up to the dressing with Paddy around you, because Paddy was there buck-collecting around, he might be in his underpants, he might be in his underpants, but he'd be shouldering you, and he'd be running over here and shouldering somebody else, and he'd have you revved, and he was great. He was just great. So we missed him. You know, that's. I think we're doing a lot of, because we have so much free time at the moment. We are doing a lot of reflecting, and I think, I think we're going to reconfigure our lives after this, and the way we look at life. And I'm 64 years old, 65 this year. So I've been very lucky. I can't complain.
And when you think back in your career, and if you can leave the Offaly 82 out of it for, because obviously that's obviously the answer. But is there any other games that you wish you could play again?
No, none at all.
No?
Look, no, none at all. I have no regrets. Swear to God, Shane, played in 10 All-Ireland Senior Football Finals. We won 8. No regrets. I missed probably the 2 best years of my footballing career with an anterior cruciate ligament. And I have arthritis, and I probably need a knee replacement. And like I said, I don't sleep at night with the shoulders. And people say, "Do you regret it? And if you got a chance to turn the clock back, what would you do differently?" Jesus, Shane, I wouldn't do anything differently. I'd do the whole lot. We had a wonderful, wonderful time, wonderful life, a roller coaster of a ride. Absolutely, no regrets. No regrets. Never had regrets. We got beaten by Offaly in '82. Went into the cubicle in the dressing room. I cried for 5 minutes.
You actually cried over that?
Inside the cubicle, I locked the cubicle and I cried for 5 minutes. And you know what? When I came out of the cubicle, that was it. I did part, and I decided, fuck it, I'm going to get my cruciate knee operation, which at the time wasn't being done in Ireland. I said, I found a pill in England. I went to England, and you know what? we came together again and we won 3 more All-Irelands. And if we had won 82, would we have won 3 more All-Irelands? No. But we had the motivation then to, you never want to finish. Look, the history of sport, no one gets the last hurrah right, and none of us ever did. But we didn't want to finish at 82.
One of the years then, I'm not sure, was it 83 or 84 maybe, you beat Dublin, but you actually took the gamble of taking a photograph behind a washing machine, and it was in the newspaper the next day. Did you know it was going to be a big deal?
We took a team for 1 year, for 4 in a row, I think. 4 in a row, 3. We took a photograph the morning of the All-Ireland in the Grand Hotel in Malahide, so that we could have photographs of the winning team for sale the following day. That was Micko, because Micko believed, like, he didn't want to see companies making money out of us. And people talked about the 5 in a row T-shirts and the records and all that. Nothing to do with the team. It had nothing to do with the team. We didn't do any. When we played in 82, we had 5 All-Ireland medals in our pocket. We were experienced. We weren't taken in by the razzmatazz. We weren't trying to capitalise money or whatever like that. But we did for a couple of years. 79, 80, 81. Micko used to always say, if anyone's going to make money out of us, it's going to be us. And he was brilliant at that. He was absolutely brilliant. When we tried to raise the money for the 5 weeks to Australia, we went to North of Ireland. We went to Ulster for 2 weekends. And we played 6 matches, Friday, Saturday, Sunday each day. And £5 into each game. It was a challenge game. And for £5 sterling now, sterling was good those days. But Micko wouldn't trust the boys to collect at the gate. Micko used to bring 2 carloads from Kerry of fellas, including Peter Keane's father, the late Tom Keane, to collect the money to gate in case anyone would fucking take anyone. So we did that. We went up. We made a fortune. We made a fortune up in Ulster. £5. We had 4,000 and 5,000 at games Friday night games in the Burden, or Friday night game in Castleblaine or something like that. Jesus, huge money out here. It was great.
And Bomber was also going on about how competitive a spirit that.
Tell me this. How's Verney doing? Would you tell me this?
Okay, let's touch it in. Michael, while you're on a break there, how are you getting on?
Yeah, not too bad, Shane. About 300 and nearly 400 done now at this stage, so we're going all right.
Yeah, I got the update. I got the update there. You had 391 done, but of course I messed up the countdown clock, so I'm not 100% sure how long he has left to go. Pat, so another thing I was going to ask you was about your club, Temple No, that they had a bit of a resurgence this year to win a Munster Intermediate Football Championship. Now I think most people would have even fancied them to go on and win in All Ireland, but
don't talk about it. Yeah. That's bad news.
Yeah,
that's sad bad. Left it behind.
But is it a case that is the club making a comeback?
No, I mean, look what we are. We're a very small club. In small clubs and small counties, it's cyclical. Every 40 years, every 50 years, every 60 years, suddenly a bunch comes together. In 10 years' time, where will Clifford Club be? Probably down in junior or novice. We'll be down around Division 4. But we have a golden spell of 5 or 6 years at the moment. We're the only country club. We're the only rural club that's in the Kerry Senior Championship this year. That is so much. Think about it. For a club with a population of 400, think about this. For a club, certainly the only senior club in Ireland that doesn't have a national school in its area. Amazing.
And who'd be your favourite player to watch? This is just a final question before I let you go. Who's your favourite player to watch at the moment?
Jesus, David Clifford. David Clifford is just... I've watched David Clifford since he was under 12. Playing against Spillane. I've watched this fella develop. Look, any man that can bring 4,000 extra supporters to a Kerry County final, which David Clifford did last year, that's the pulling power, that's the magnetism, that's the genius that is David Clifford. He's our Messi, he's our Ronaldo, he's our Pele. He is just a genius. And you know what? On top of everything else, a brilliant role model and a really good guy. Really level-headed, really well-rounded individual, comes from a great family. The sky is the limit for him if he remains injury-free. I'd watch him every morning, every day, every afternoon.
Pat, you've been absolutely brilliant with your time. Really do appreciate it.
Best of luck to Michael.
So thanks very much. I'm sure we'll talk to you again in the future, Pat. All the best.
A pleasure. Good luck.